Hi everyone, I am Divya Bharati, Assistant Professor, Department of Management Studies, Rogini College of Engineering and Technology. So we are now discussed about the subject as consumer behavior, Unit 4. The Unit 4 contains the topic as consumer behavior models. So models of the consumer behavior is classified into two, that is traditional models and contemporary models. Traditional model is the economic model, learning model, psychological model and sociological model, and contemporary model is classified into Howard Schutt model of buying behavior, Nicosia model, Angel Collett Blackwell model, Angel Blackwell and Miniard model, Webster and Wynne model of organization buying behavior, and Schutt model of buying behavior. So what do you mean by economic model? This model assumes that with limited purchasing power and a set of needs and taste, a consumer will allocate his or her expenditure over different products at a given price so as to maximize utility. The basis for economic model is price effect, substitution effect, income effect, and criticism. This model represents that criticisms fails to explain how does the consumer actually behave, and incompleteness in the model and lack of broader perspective. So there is a incompleteness in this model. So this economic model is purchasing power and set of needs and taste, and the consumer will allocate his or her expenditure over different products at a given prices. The next model is learning model. This model helps marketers to promote association of products with strong drivers and cues which would lead to positive reinforcement from the consumers. In marketing context, learning will help marketers to understand how consumers learn to respond in new marketing situations or how they have learned and responded in the past in similar situations. As consumers also learn to discriminate, and this information will be useful in working out different marketing strategies. So in the marketing, learning will help marketers to understand how consumers learn to respond in new marketing situations, so or how they have learned and responded in the past in similar situations. So the learning is a major important thing, that how to behave in some the marketing situations. Learn to discriminate, differentiate the information will be useful in working out different marketing strategies. So the firm marketing effort, social environment, motivation, personality, attitudes, these are all includes to buying the product, post-purchase behavior, and if the consumer buying the product, repeat purchase and discontinuation or otherwise discontinuation. So in this way, these are all that includes the buying behavior. Then psychological model. This model based on the work of psychologists who were concerned with the personality. The view was human needs and motives operates on buying. This theory was developed by Freud, and his human behavior is the outcome of ID, superego, ego. This model is concerned with personality and says that human behavior to great extent is directed by a complex set of deep-seated motives. So the psychological model is mostly represented by the theory. This helps the marketer to know how buyers influenced by symbolic factors in buying a product. So depend upon the way they represent the outcome of ID, ego and superego of characters. So understand these types, and then only they can analyze the buyer's behavior. The next one is sociological model. Sociological model is nothing but individual buyer is a part of the institution or called society, get influenced by it, and in turn also influences it is in a path of development. The interactions with all the set of society leave some impressions on him and may play a role in influencing his buying behavior. The marketers, through a process of market segmentation, can work out on the common behavior patterns of the specific class and group of buyers and try to influence their buying pattern. So as per this model, the individual buyer is a part of the institution called society. This buyer is a part of the institution or the society, get influenced by it, and in turn also influencing the path of development. So the interaction with all the set of society leaves some impressions on him and may play a role in influencing his buying behavior by the marketers through a process of market segmentation and work out on the common behavior patterns of the specific class and groups of buyers and try to influence the buying pattern. Our chart model of buying behavior. It attempts to throw light on the rational brand behavior shown by buyers when faced with situations involving incomplete information and limited abilities. The model refers to three levels of decision making: extensive problem solving, limited problem solving, and routinized response behavior. The model has borrowed the learning theory concepts to explain brand choice behavior when learning takes place as the buyer moves from extensive to routine problem solving behavior. The model signifies the contribution to understand consumer behavior by identifying the variables which influence consumers. Four components involved in this model like input variables, output variables, hypothetical constructs, and exogenous variables. So what do you mean by input variable? In these variables act as stimuli in the environment. Stimuli can be significative, symbolic, and social. The significative stimuli are those actual elements of brands which the buyer confronts, whereas symbolic stimuli are those which are used by marketers to represent their products in a symbolic form. The social stimuli are generated by the social environment such as family, friends, groups, and etc. Output variables, these are which buyers observable response. Output variables, these are which buyers observable responses to stimulus inputs. They appear in the sequences. So they appear in the sequences below. So the first one is attention. Attention is based on the importance of the buyer's information intake. The second one is comprehension, the store of information the buyer has about the brand. Attitude, the buyer's evaluation of the particular brand's potential to satisfy his or her motives. Intention, the brand which the buyer intends to buy. Purchase behavior, the act of actually purchasing which reflects the buyer predisposition to buy is modified by any of the inhibitors. Then hypothetical constructs. From this construct, the model proposes a number of intervening variables which have been categorized into two major groups: perceptual constructs and perceptual bias and search for information. Sensitive to information is the degree to which the buyer regulates the stimulus information flow. The perception bias refers that when distorting or altering the information, and search of information, it involves actively seeking information on the brands or their characteristics. The learning construct is motives, general or specific goals, symboling action, and decision mediators. And Predisposition refers to a preference towards brand in the above set which express an attitude towards them. Inhibitors refers to environmental forces like price and time pressure which may inhibit or put restraint on the purchase of a preferred brand. Satisfaction, the extent to which post-actual purchase will measure up to the buyer's expectation. Exogenous variables, these are a list of a number of external variables which can significantly influence buyer decisions. So the Howard-Schmidt model of buying behavior, this is the flow chart where represents the input variables. Input variables like quality, price, distinctiveness, service availability, and symbolic quality, price, distinctive service, and availability. Social is already we know family, reference groups, and social class. And perceptual constructs is stimulus, action, attention, and perceptual bias. The learning construct is confidence and confidence about the particular product, then attitude, then motives, then choice, criteria, and brand comprehension. And finally, the output is buy or not buy the product, satisfaction or not satisfaction with the product. Output is purchase, intention, attitude, brand comprehension, and attention about the particular product. The limitations of these models is there is an absence of sharp distinctions between exogenous variables and other variables. Some of the variables which are not well defined and or difficult to measure too. The model is quite complex and not very easy to comprehend. The finally Mercator model. This model attempts to explain the buying behavior by establishing a link between the organization and its prospective customer. So analyze the human being as a system, is the stimuli as the input to the system, and the human behavior as an output of the system. The model suggests that the message from the first influences the predisposition of the consumer towards the product or services. This may result in a search of a product or an evaluation of the product attributes by the consumer. The consumer satisfies with the above, it may result in a positive response to the decision to buy the product. So Nikolson model is classified into four fields: field 1, field 2, field 3 and 4. And field 1, the consumer attribute and the firm's attribute. The advertisement message is like the field 1, and the advertisement, after the advertisement, the consumer understand about the product and verify the alternative or not, and it explains how the consumer actually buys the product. And field 4 is related to the users of the purchase item, so related to an output to receive feedback on sales results by organization. Then this is the negotiation model flow chart. So this represents the field 1. Field 1 contains the message exposure, so, and subfield 2 consumers attributes and predispositions attitude, and field 2 search for evaluation or alternate change. Field 3 is decision action, and field 4 contains the consumption and storage, and finally the experience. So limitation is the assumption about the consumer between involved the decision, and about the various brands in restricting overlapping between firms attributes and consumers attributes. So Engel-Collet model. So these are just like a decision process, problem recognition, information search, alternative evaluation, choice and outcome. Then this general motivating influences related to the decision process making. So this is the way they input variable decision process and external factors is buy or not. So in this when the consumer buy the product, the attitudes, lifestyle, motives, intentions, this all changes. The outcome is satisfaction or sometimes dissatisfaction. So about the model is the inclusion of environmental variables and general in motivating influences, but not specifying the effect of these on the buying behavior. So four sections of the model is input, information processing, decision process, variable influencing and decision process. This is the flowchart for the Blackwell and Minion external problem solving model. Thank you.